Hey everybody, this is Mike Legeros at Legeros Fireline. Today is September 8th, 2025. Time for another weekend review. Look back and give some comments on recent postings. August 28th, from Cumberland County, here's a picture of the Spring Lake Fire Department and back when they were housed in the municipal building. I like the door to the library there on the left. This is a Fayetteville Observer photo that we happened upon recently. Guessing probably late 1960s for when this shot was taken. August 28th, a picture of New Hanover County Truck 11. We were down there a couple weekends ago for an overnight trip, and the city and the county fire departments were conducting driver operator training at the airport. Thank you all for inviting me over. A perfect place to take a few posed pictures. The sun was just right. And here's the truck as it was leaving the training. Also, a couple days later, we posted a fleet roster compiled with the help of reader input and data found on the web of all past and present apparatus from New Hanover County, which, as you recall, they took over the districts from volunteer departments like Castle Hayne and Myrtle Grove and a couple others. And that whole history of the rigs and those older rigs is in a document that we posted a couple days later. We are building that on a proper document that will live out on the big bad web that you can find via Google. We'll be doing that in a couple more days. August 29th, from Rutherford County in Lake Lore, here's the Bills Creek Fire Department and their new pumper tanker. This was built in Alexis, Illinois. That is a small Midwestern town that's near where some of my wife's family lives. So I have been out there. They have given me a tour of the plant. I've taken pictures, flown the drone around. Really neat to see that area. And you can go over to my photo site, the Legeros Fire Photo site on SmugMug, search for and find some of those pictures. August 29th, a bit of fleet research. It occurred to me that a visualization of Charlotte's airport apparatus might be a bit helpful with research. So using PowerPoint, I built this real quick, just showing the progression of the airport's blaze units, which were originally called crash. This is, of course, incomplete. I'm sure there are things missing, but it's a good way to get your head around which units were designated with which particular rigs. Thank you, as always, to the readers. You all are the ones that lived and breathed this history. I'm just the armchair um, analyzer, the person in the back of I'm the guy in the chair trying to collect and compile and help present some of this history. Thank you again. August 29th, here's a fire alarm signal board displayed at the Canton Fire Department in Haywood County. We had shared a picture. We found an old newspaper photo from the 60s, and a reader added this. Now, these charts, these sort of signboards, were common across our state in small towns where the volunteers could see where to go when the alarm signal sounded. But you also saw these in larger towns in some of the big cities that had street boxes, and these fire alarm lists would be printed in old city directories and a nice long list showing where the particular alarm signals were located. August 29th from Raleigh, here's a couple pictures from back in the early 1990s. These were by Jeff Harkey, who was a founding member of the old Raleigh Fire Department photo unit. And we're seeing the Raleigh Fire Explorer Post 108 way back in the day. The Explorer Post is still operating, and here you see them on scene, monitoring, watching, as well as helping and assisting on at the fires, at incidents. August 30th, Deputy Chief Rodney Eason at Dunn Emergency Services was seriously injured when his fire department pickup, while responding to a call, collided with a vehicle that crossed the center line. Two people in the other vehicle were injured. He has since been released and is recovering at home. Best to you, Chief. Keep getting better. August 30th, from just over the border in Little River, South Carolina, Horry County Fire Department, Fire Rescue, responded to this yacht fire at a marina in the wee hours. And we found a couple pictures out on social media and also compiled the radio traffic from this incident. From Rowan County, we posted this on August 30th, a major fire at the Daimler Freightliner plant in Cleveland. Some of you know that this was the plant where American LaFrance apparatus were built for a number of years, some time back before they moved down to North Charleston and the Charleston area. This was a fire on the roof in a structure, a plant, a paint room. Large response, numerous departments, dozens of apparatus. We posted the best run card and some narrative notes. We also compiled some radio traffic from this incident. You can find out on our page. August 31st, after we posted the infographic of Charlotte Blaze units, crash trucks from the Charlotte airport, a reader said, "Hey, can you do that for the Greensboro airport, PTI?" Which we did. August 31st, we found this recently, a picture of a stolen ambulance in McDowell County. Police had responded to, I believe it was a person in distress, a psychiatric call. They requested an EMS unit from the county. The patient was being led by police to the ambulance when the patient jumped in the cab and drove off and later crashed and wrecked the ambulance in the front yard of a house back in 2016. August 31st, another major fire, this time in Lincoln County at a winery in Vail. We did not compile the radio traffic for this one because Lincoln County, it's all mixed together, all the public safety traffic, and it just too time intensive to separate out the fire department traffic. Plus, from some sampling, it was really mostly a lot of units marking en route, just units en route, getting en route, dispatch this, send more auto aid, etc. One interesting note about this incident, there was a hazmat runoff involving the wine that spilled from broken containers. Wine runoff spill control, something you don't hear every day of the week. August 31st, from Wayne County, another major fire at apartments. These are within the city, but in an area without fire hydrants, so water had to be shuttled. We also, and the first due department is a county department because the city contracts with them because they are closest. They have an agreement for auto aid and closest dispatch. We compiled the radio traffic from this incident as well, although I believe we are missing the first 30 minutes. The live scanner feed from Wayne County was not activated, did not have any archives, and I'm guessing that whoever runs that feed heard about the fire, turned the radio on, and began recording and streaming radio traffic. September 1st, this is a logo from Wilmington Truck One, which was founded the first hook and ladder company in the port city, organized in 1846, which of course compelled the question, well, what are some of the other older ladder companies? So there's a list there, including both the bigger cities, Charlotte, Raleigh, and smaller towns like Warrenton up in north central North Carolina in Warren County, the Plummer Hook and Ladder Company, one of the oldest and dates back to the 1860s, if memory serves. September 1st, 4 children were killed in a house fire in Columbus County. We didn't really have anything to add about this incident, sharing news stories as well as some context, a civilian fire fatality report from last year from the Office of the State Fire Marshal. Believe we also have a link to some of our research, some of the Legeros notes on multi-fatality civilian fires over the years and decades in North Carolina. September 1st, Labor Day, my wife and I took a trip to Greensboro, poked around a couple of the parks, enjoyed being in a different city, and I paid a visit to the airport fire station at PTI Airport. I found myself revisiting my airport fire department history and research, which includes Guilford County fire rescue history. More on that in a moment. The crew at the station, very friendly, pulled the trucks out. We've been posting pictures of those, and I had not yet been to their new station, which has been open now many, many years. Really fun. Thank you again for your hospitality. September 1st, at the airport fire station, in the display case was a booklet, a Guilford County Fire Services booklet, an overview from 1966. That was the year after the airport fire department was taken over by the county. This was a initiative. It took a couple years to get in place, and it was prompted by the crash of an Air Force propeller plane in 1962 that killed 7 airmen. This was the airport's first heavy crash truck, an American LaFrance airport chief, a 4x4 truck, of which there were only 6 built, and Guilford County and what was called the Greensboro High Point Regional Airport received one of them. September 2nd, we posted an update, another view, and a map showing where the accident occurred that injured Dunn Emergency Services Deputy Chief Rodney Eason, seriously injuring him with some back injuries. He is now recovering at home. September 2nd, we have been posting some new slide scans from Forsyth County and surrounding counties. These were provided by Jeff DeBell. He worked for Winston-Salem Fire Department in the 1980s. Here you see just a fabulous picture of some of the frontline rigs, including one of the 2 snorkels. That was the short snorkel. There was I believe it's 55 feet, and they had a 85 footer. I think I have that right. And that snorkel, the shorter one, had a body built by Baker Fire Apparatus. They were based in Richmond, but they had a subsidiary office. They had a second factory in Charlotte for a number of years. If you get on the Google, you can find, we've done some research, and you'll find my page on Baker Fire Apparatus built in North Carolina. You'll notice I say as memory serves a lot. I cannot rely on my memory, and so I'm giving citations as best as I recall, but really, anytime I say that, just go back, get on the web, and check and be sure that what I remember is correct. I have recorded, dozens, hundreds, thousands of historical bits, and so I rely upon my own notes. And for the definitive answer, I am going to check my own work. Otherwise, you're going to hear me say, as memory serves. September 2nd, here's a scene shot from that Sunday on Pool Road where an outbuilding burned. That is the Raleigh Fire Department fire investigators at work. The way they work is there are 2 units that are dispatched that are the primary dispatch. On the weekdays, it is the chief fire investigator. They're based out of fire administration. And then at nights and on weekends, Investigator 1 responds. They are based at Station 1, and that is a cross-staffed unit with personnel who ride Engine 1, Engine 13, and Ladder 1 at Station 1. September 2nd, another picture from our visit at PTI Airport. This is new Smoky 1, really nifty rapid intervention vehicle built by Oshkosh on a Ford chassis. The older Smoky 1 was a mini pumper with a skid unit, and it has been converted to a fleet service truck that is now called Smoky 9. September 3rd, getting into some of the more Guilford County fire history. This is the original rescue, the original Squad 50, the first manpower unit in Guilford County. It was later renamed Rescue 50 when they received a rescue truck. And this was a manpower unit that would go out in the county on structure fire calls and technical rescue calls to help augment what were diminished or dwindling numbers of volunteer firefighters available for fire calls during the week. And within about a year, this became a 24/7 unit. Initially, was just a weekday unit. September 3rd, This is a picture of Greensboro Truck 2, and this is a service ladder truck built by American LaFrance and with a booster pump. And what one of our readers observed, Steve Lofton, he caught an error of mine because I had mentioned in a prior posting that Greensboro had a quadruple combination. Well, that's not quite right because a quad, to qualify as a quadruple combination, the apparatus needs to have a higher capacity pump. That's the consensus right now, that you need a pump that's 500 gallons per minute or greater. This booster pump does not have that capacity, so it's not a quad. And when we say quad, what we mean is it has four functions: water, pump, hose, and ladders. So you know what a quint is. A quint has water, pump, hose, ground ladders, and an aerial device. And then the more common triple combination was one that had water, pump, and ladders. You got that straight? Triple, quadruple, quintuple, or today we call it a quint. September 3rd, this was a nifty picture, a little hard to see. I would love to find a copy of the original photographic print. This was in the Goldsboro News Argus back in the 60s when portable reservoirs were being used, the first rural water supply in Wayne County, as well as some of the other counties that started doing this. As the story goes, it was farmers in Iowa that brought this to FDIC in the 60s to tell how they were shuttling water, and that the trend soon spread nationally, and it spread around North Carolina. In Wayne County, this was perfected to the point that Nahunta Fire Department in the 70s, I believe the late 70s, became the first rural fire department in the state and also the nation, if I have it right, to receive a municipal fire rating through the shuttling of water to maintain the designated necessary flow of water. Get on the Google, you'll find that story. September 3rd, answer the call. Raleigh Fire Department is hiring. This month, they're accepting applications for the upcoming fire academies in 2026. Right now, they're planning a short academy and a long academy. September 4th, found a couple great old photos in the Gold Leaf Farmer of a Nightdale Volunteer Fire Department fundraiser. There's old George Gupton, upper right, longtime fire chief. And on left, that's future firefighter Chris Miller cheering on his dad, Mike Miller, and the Miller family with their legacy of service in the Nightdale Fire Department, both the volunteer iteration and the later municipal version, the current municipal iteration. September 5th, a photo from newspaper coverage of an emergency landing of AirTran Airways Flight 913 in Greensboro. This was smoke in the cockpit, and enough smoke that passengers in the first rows were seeing smoke kind of billowing out of the cockpit. Here's a view of the emergency landing. You see PTI airport apparatus as well as some trucks from nearby Guilford College Fire Department. September 5th, here's engine 12 receiving their newer engine. It is swap out season here in the capital city. All right, so we've been getting a bunch of new pumping engines as well as a new Ladder 14, but that's for another day. Lately, we've had 4 Pierce Sabre pumpers delivered as well as 4 Pierce Enforcers, and the Sabres have gone in service, which means their engines, which were fairly new, are now being shifted to other engine companies, and then those engine companies, their engines are being shifted elsewhere. Some of them moved to reserve, some are being shifted to other engines, and all of this really potentially confusing, but we've got a chart. You'll see we've posted that recently. Here's engine 12 getting their newer engine, and you just follow our page, and we've got other pictures and charts, and just we're tracking everything because we eat this up. You've heard of people who are train spotters. Well, we are rig spotters. And there you have it. Thanks for reading. See you next time.